is I think that sometimes in my time of past transgressions, you know, um, I may have been looked at, or my actions may have said that I was somewhat of a womanizer. Okay, um, and I understand. So when she told me, "I don't want your sons to be like you," I really would have appreciated had she put it more in the context of that, because that actually was a conversation that you have privately. You know what I'm saying? Because it's almost like if we was, let's say you talking to your wife, and your wife was a hoe once upon a time, but she changed, and you respect her for that, and you love her, but she was a hoe once upon a time, and she got kids, and you come out in front of the world and say, "Well, I pray your daughters don't be a hoe like you was at their age when you was the age when you was hoeing." That's not a conversation you say in front of the world. That's not, that's a conversation you have, "Well, baby, I really appreciate you finding yourself, finding your purpose, being purpose driven, changing your life, and being a better person." You say that to them. You don't say, "Well, I hope your daughters don't be a hoe like you was. I pray they don't be like you." And you say that in front of the world, because then it sounds like there's some resentment there. It sounds like you resent the fact that you married to a once upon a time hoe. So that's how it came off when we had that moment. And I had to remain tactful because I understand my wife as a friend, as a confidant, as a significant other, as a husband. I understood that. So that's why I was able to keep a grasp on my temperament. I was able to keep a hold on my tone in delivering what I had to say, no matter if it hurt or it would kind of spike her a little bit. I had to keep that under control. You know what I'm saying? And I felt some kind of way, but I love her for who she is. I love her for her honesty, and I love her for her true will to see me be a better person. And so, because I understood that about her, I'm able to walk away like, "Baby, we just got to work on it. We can't, we got to pick and choose our battles, because this conversation that we didn't even have to go there. And now you got me looking like I'm checking you in front of the world," which is okay if it's done tactfully, respectfully, but we shouldn't have to do that in front of the world. We will not film in Love and Hip Hop where people expect to see certain stuff. We're having a regular interview, and it just went left for a moment.
Yeah,
You
that's
know?
real. That's maturity, though.
Yeah.
I think I've heard or read some things where you're very open.
Yeah.
Right. In public, and I know this is your second marriage.
Yeah.
What is different in this marriage versus, say, your first one at this point?
There's a checklist there. First marriage, there was no checklist, meaning there was no credit report. You couldn't pull my credit in the first marriage to say how well I did in my previous marriage, because there had not been a previous marriage. You kind of get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So coming into this second marriage, there is a credit report. There are questions when we were vetting each other, and there was a lot of questions pertaining to my marriage. What happened? How did y'all fall out of love? Why did y'all go y'all separate ways? Because here's a very interesting thing. My ex-wife and I could probably tell you how many times we argued in our marriage. And sometimes when I think about that, my level of maturity makes me sit back and recollect. And I start asking myself, was it that bad? Because it really wasn't. We didn't have a lot of conflict. I just think over time we grew apart. Just like, all right,
It happened.
I want something else. You might want something else. That's what happened. So the difference now is I know what it feels like to be divorced, to go through that process. I know what it feels like to sit up late nights not being able to sleep because you're thinking your whole family is about to be the unit itself about to be destroyed, So also I know hella do's and don'ts from my first marriage that I know is certain things that, it's like right now, my wife get pissed off. She got mad at me the other day. We spun it. It was a true story. And I'm dealing with something, okay? One of my childhood friends, right? Just something happens. He's in the hospital. They saying seizure. Sound like overdose to me. I'm not putting that out there that that's what it was. I'm just saying what it sounded like. So that gave me like a sense of damn. That he woke up out of a coma in 3 days. Told me I'm late for work. The doctor's like, yo, we never seen anybody wake up out of a coma like this. This is crazy. It's a phenomenon, right? Then at the same time, the day he wake up out of the coma, another friend of mine or an associate who was hanging with a friend of mine would die that night. My childhood best friend came out of his coma, and he was just with me for my birthday. He escorted me in. They had all these slingshots that escorted me to the city hall for my birthday. He died on a slingshot, so that was a lot to deal with, right? I walk into the restaurant. I see an old friend. My wife is kind of like, we done had a long day. It's raining outside. I'm like, baby, you want to eat? We was doing extra stuff, so she been working since this morning. I've been working since this morning. It's 9 o'clock at night now. She tired, I'm tired, but we hungry. So I see an old friend. So she's like, where we going? The old friend said, hey, y'all. I'm like, what's up? So she like,
The old friend is a
female.
Oh.
She's a female, a woman.
Okay.
She's a woman. Mm-hmm. And she said, so y'all just gonna act like y'all don't know each other? And okay. So I was like, I spoke. You don't want to speak. She was like, oh, okay, that's cool, that's fine. So I'm like, so I'm feeling some kind of way. So the lady walks up, she said, you know what? I'm gonna push y'all over here to the private area. I said, cool. I walk in, this young lady said, Jock. I'm like, oh, who is this? She said, you don't remember me? I'm like, She said, you sure you don't remember me? My wife head walking around like, who? I'm like, who are you? She said, Larry, Mary, Chris, Kim. So she said that. I'm like, oh, you talking my childhood best friend, Larry, Steve, but I don't know who you are. She said, oh, I'm his brother, Chris's wife. I said, oh, okay. Hey, man, how's everybody doing? She goes, yeah, you know, Chris is in law enforcement now. And by the way, they found the killer to Steve after 20 years. So I'm hearing some crazy, so everything that's happening at one time. So she telling me, I'm like, well, how? So I sit down at the table and I'm frustrated. I'm going through something. So to bring it back in, she's sitting there, it turns into a situation, we get into it. I don't even know how we got into it. I say, you know what? I'll be back. Ordered the food, I walked out, went to the store. Ask me what I got from the store.
What?
Nothing. I just needed
to walk.
I needed a walk, but I drove.
Yeah.
I pulled back up, I pulled in the front, in the other parking lot, and I sat there.